I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce our next speaker, who's Zipporah Berman. And as you know, Zipporah, many of you know, she's a working environmentalist for over 20 years. She was arrested at Clayoquot Sound and charged with 857 criminal offenses. And if this government thinks that Clayoquot Sound was tough, wait, right? She's the co-founder of Forest Ethics, and she's the author of This Crazy Time.
Hey everybody! So it's so incredible to be up here and see all of you here, but the first thing I want to do is give a shout out to the thousands of people who couldn't be here today, so they're organizing in their own communities. As of right now, online, we have 60 different communities that have signed up to protest in their own communities on Wednesday. A shout out to them. You know, sometimes the most important thing that we can do is sit down and work it out, to try and figure out how to mitigate the environmental impacts of bad projects, to compromise, to negotiate. I want to say one thing very clearly to Premier Christy Clark. This is not one of those times. No matter how much the chemical industry tried to sugarcoat it, we knew as Canadians that DDT was poisoning us, and we got it banned. No matter how much the industry argued that CFCs were okay, we knew as Canadians that we had to stand up. We had them banned. This is one of those moments when we know that it's simply not okay. It's not okay that our federal government is pushing these pipelines down our throats. It's not okay because we know that these pipelines only make sense if we're dramatically increasing the size of the tar sands. It's not okay that Canada is polluting more and more every day. You know, the International Energy Agency this year came out with a report that said we need to move away from fossil fuels now. We need to move quickly to a low-carbon future, to building out renewables. They said every dollar spent today that is not spent on moving towards low-carbon energies, we'll have to spend 4 to deal with climate disasters in a decade. This is no longer just an environmental issue. It's no longer just an economic issue. This is the challenge of our age, and it's a moral issue, and our elected representatives should be representing us. Every day, 300 million liters of toxic sludge is being piped out into unlined pits in the center of Canada. They now spread 170 kilometers. You can see them from space, and they're leaking. We know that they are poisoning downstream communities, and that's not okay. It's not okay that Premier Christy Clark is saying that we can negotiate for more money, and then what? No amount of money is going to take away the risk of oil spills, the the risks that threaten our fisheries communities, threaten our tourism communities, and threaten our way of life, and it's time to say no. You know, just as woman to woman, if there's one message that our government hears today, Premier Christy Clark, sometimes, all the time, no means no. Earlier this year, I had the honor with my son to go to see the Yankee and the Squamish and the Tsleil-Waututh people come together and sign the Save the Fraser Declaration. My son, who's here today, turned to me and said, "Mom, I feel like I'm witnessing history." Well, today, honey, we're making history. There are moments in history when it's time to stand up and say no. Moments like in Clayoquot Sound in the 90s. Those moments are when our decision makers simply are not representing us, when they refuse, when they are designing policy in the oil patch instead of in Ottawa, when they're designing policy for a small group of people to make a lot of money, when they're designing policy that they know is going to destroy our air, our water, and our kids' future. It's time to say no. I'm really glad that we saw a lot of elected representatives here today. I'm really glad that the NDP was here filling this stage. I'd been even happier if they'd come out strongly against the Kinder Morgan pipeline. One of the most important things to remember is that the world is changing. The last 2 years were the first years in human history where the new investment for electricity generation, the investment for renewable energy, for wind, for water, for solar, it exceeded the combined investment of oil and coal combined. We are living the tipping point, the moment where we can re-envision the world and create a world that is cleaner and safer for our kids. And we're here today to call on our federal government, our provincial government, to make the changes that are necessary to bring us into the next century and stop looking backwards. Remember too, when you leave here, that sometimes it feels too big, but the scale of change that is possible today is huge. In our lifetimes, we have seen us entirely change the way we communicate, the way that we travel. Heck, when I started my first campaign, we didn't even have cell phones or the internet, and I'm not that old. When we first started organizing for Clayoquot, it was about how many people you could get around your kitchen table. Now we're connected to thousands in seconds. We have the capacity to make the changes that we need to make. And we don't always know, especially in the climate era, what the future holds. But today we know who holds it, and it's us. Thank you.
We are peoples of the Salish Sea, and we have come to defend thee. You have given us life since the dawn of time, and we have come here to thank thee. No oil shall sully your waters, no pipeline spoil your shores. We are drawing the line here, making a pledge always defend thee. We are drawing a line here, making a pledge. To always defend thee. We are drawing a line here, making a pledge. Everybody together. To always defend thee.
In the next election, people will be asked to guess from a bunch of scoundrels who will screw them less, who will make almighty promises, bit of paper they won't keep, and talk a lot of nonsense. It's enough to make you weep.